気分は最高だけどびっくり世界がどう
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 29 of The Spy Who Loved Megaranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Denji Sentai Megaranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm okay, Matt.
Great.
Yeah. Just thinking about the news.
Oh, what news?
I
hear
lots of stuff. New year.
Yeah,
there's a new year,
me.
Matt.
Yeah.
Browns. The Browns are in the playoff.
Hey, they won their first playoff game since I was 10 years old. I am.
So
36.
that's a neat. No, Matt. Hey, I hate to tell you this, Matt, but you would have been 18 years old, my friend.
In 1994.
Oh no! They went to the playoffs 18 years ago. That's what it was.
Yeah. No, they did not win a game in 2002. They just got to the playoffs. Got it.
There was that thing where the president tried to use a violent mob to assassinate Congress.
Yeah,
there was that,
and No Time to Die got delayed again. And
man,
and
just a lot of
here's the thing, Dave, is
so much crazy news.
Listen, did the president get impeached again today? Yeah, he did. But this is like the 5th time No Time to Die has gotten delayed. And at this point, that is like more newsworthy to me. The thing last week was very bad. It was
very bad. I feel
bad,
like
Dave.
If anybody was listening, guys, and you felt like Stuck the Landing, it's just somehow you took Stuck the Landing and interpreted that as like invade the Capitol building. Oh, that was the wrong. Let me just say that was the wrong message.
Yeah,
that's not what we meant.
Stick the landing was like do the end of something well.
Yeah,
not not armed insurrection. That was
not as badly. Yeah, not as badly as you could possibly do it. That would be the key.
It's times like this, Dave, that I really, and I hate to do this, but I really do have to confront the fact that not everyone in America listens to our podcast, because I feel like if they had just heard our message.
Had they heard Stick the Landing, I feel like they would have been on the buses there and then would just be like, guys, this isn't Sticking the Landing.
What are we doing?
What are we even doing here? And they would have turned around and become philanthropists or something, man. I don't even know. In the teeth of that howling gale, here's some Super Sentai.
Today we'll be watching episode 29, I Want to Lose Weight, Miku's Dubious Diet. But before we get into that, Dave, of course, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. Would you like to hear what our first star of the week is?
Yeah, I'm delighted.
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, it's January, and you know what that means. It's Westerns January.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
How's that going?
I feel like I should have a better name for that. Westerns January is not really something that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, we should workshop that, but I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Dave, it's going good. I finished the movie that I had ended last January almost watching, was Once Upon a Time in the West, which is not the best Sergio Leone movie. It's got really good bits. It's also extremely long and kind of doesn't get started till a good way through the movie. And like Clint Eastwood's not in it. And listen, Charles Bronson is good. I'm not saying that he's not, but he's also not Clint Eastwood when it comes to Westerns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Henry Fonda's in it, in like a weird Henry Fonda role. Have you ever seen Once Upon a Time in the West?
You know, I don't know that I have, actually.
It is worth watching eventually. Like, you have 2 4-year-olds, so you are not going to have the time to watch.
I got you.
You are definitely not going to have the time to watch Once Upon a Time in the West anytime soon, because it's a long movie, and not a movie for kids, or a movie that kids would, like, tolerate.
Okay, well, that's a very good preamble.
But if you, the listener, have never seen it, and like good old classic Westerns, it's a good one. But Dave, the thing that I think is more pressing is that I want to talk about a series of Westerns that I was previously unfamiliar with, that I have now watched, I think, 3 of. And this is the Sartana series. Have you ever even heard of Sartana?
No, I was going to say, I got nothing on this.
Okay, Sartana are a series of spaghetti westerns. Like, and when I say spaghetti westerns, like, you know how the Sergio Leone movies are like, everyone's Italian in them except for Clint Eastwood, and like, you can tell it was intended for an American audience?
Mm-hmm.
The Sartana movies are like Italian movies starring Italian people, probably mostly intended for an Italian market.
Okay.
Which just gives it a different flavor, I think.
Well, I did a quick Google search on it, and I do see a clip that says, "I am Sartana, your angel of death."
So that's the name of the...
Then the next one just says, "If you meet Sartana, pray for your death."
Well, Dave,
so
no, these are those are the names of 2 of the 5 Sartana movies. I was gonna read all 5 of them to you, but
man, I'm sorry to have stolen your thunder here. That is a sharp suit, my man.
Dude, Sartana looks good. Okay, so Sartana, 5 movies. The first one was in 1968. The last 3 are all in 1970. It's 5 movies in 3 years where it's just this like really sharp looking like gunfighter, gambler, like mysterious man of the West going around doing like crazy Western stuff. And he's got like gadgets. Not like James Bond gadgets, but like kind of actually, yeah, James Bond gadgets. If James Bond was a Western character. So here are the names.
Okay, Matt.
Here are the names of the 5 Sartana movies. You got number 1, If You Meet Sartana, Pray for Your Death. Number 2, I Am Sartana, Your Angel of Death. Number 3, I Am Sartana, Trade Your Guns for a Coffin. Number 4,
dude, that's a bold promise.
Number 4, Have a Good Funeral, My Friend. Sartana Will Pay. And finally...
It's a little wordy.
Finally, Light the Fuse, Sartana is Coming. Now, Light the Fuse, Sartana is Coming is the 5th and final of the main Sartana movies. Sartana as a character, either with that same actor or other actors playing him, in various forms have appeared in other spaghetti westerns, but these, I think, are the 5 core Sartana movies. The 5th Sartana movie, I got about halfway through and I was like, oh, Sartana is anime. Like, it is so over the top. There's a bit. Do you mind? Might you watch this movie? Do you feel like I would spoil something if I told you like
Matt,
a fun bit?
Listen, I think I would like to watch this movie, but I'm going to be honest. It sounds like there's a lot of movie in these movies, so I think you can kind of throw out maybe a little bon mot.
Okay.
So an amuse-bouche of the mind, if you will.
Near the end of the movie, Sartana is waiting in town for this like army of bandits to arrive. He's sort of been playing this army of bandits against another group of people, and they're all trying to find where the gold is or whatever, you know.
Classic so far. Yeah, can't fault that.
So this army of bandits shows up at the end, and Sartana is sitting in the middle of the street in the back of a wagon, and in that wagon is a organ, like a pipe organ, that he has brought to town.
Okay.
With him because he has told people that he wants to set up a dance hall in this town.
Okay.
And he's just sitting there playing this organ, waiting for the bandits to arrive. And everybody else has already fled town because he told them that he was waiting for the bandits. He's just sitting there playing the organ and in the middle of the street. And then a whole army of bandits arrive. And I have this thought where I'm like, oh, that pipe organ's a gun. And then he pulls a couple of levers and like 2 of the pipes drop down and they're like mortars and they're just like shooting like explosives at these guys. And then it just progresses. We're like, this whole contraption, this pipe organ just has guns coming out of it in different angles and he just wipes out an entire bandit army with a pipe organ. It's extremely good, Dave.
Yeah, that sounds dope. I think I'm very into that. Yes, please.
Sartana movies, huge recommend. I mean, listen, they are late 60s, early 70s movies, so there's gonna be stuff in there that's bad, but like if you can sort of grain of salt it with the with that stuff, like the movies are a lot of fun. Dave, what is our second star of the week?
So our second star of the week, man, as it so often is Bun Vulcan. Welcome to Bun Vulcan. So I actually don't have a real intense Bun Vulcan. It's just, like I said, we're trying to kind of scale things back a little bit from having quite so many cookies readily available all the time. That proved to be a bad long-term plan. But the twins are still really like, oh, this is like a cool thing that we can do. And they are starting, again, they're starting to get old enough where they can do it. So what we did is for Christmas, we got them not like an easy bake oven, just like a small countertop oven. But like, it's a convection oven. Bad boy gets up to like 450 degrees. Like, it's a full on, like, it's just an oven.
It's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, we got it on, I forget where we got it. Anyways, we got a very good deal for it. And it's, and then we also got them just like some very small, I don't think they're meant to be kid sized. I just think they're supposed to be like entremet sized, like little pie and like little bundt pans, but they're like kid sized effectively. And so they were like, we want to make chocolate cakes in these pans in our oven. So we made we made like 2 little chocolate bundt cakes, and
fun.
Buddy Bear was like, oh, we should put apple in. So we like cut up some apple and like dusted them in cinnamon and put them in. You didn't really taste it, but the texture was nice to have the apple in the chocolate cake. So that's it. I made 2 tiny chocolate cakes with my tiny kids. That was fun.
Cool,
that's
man.
it. There's like nothing interesting going on. I mean, that's interesting. Nothing interesting objectively from like a baking thing. But, humans growing up, that's a neat thing. What, Matt, is our third star of the week?
Dave, third star of the week is it warmed up a little bit today. The sun was out, so after work I went for a walk. It sure did.
Love it.
I got a little bit of a walk update. This is a walk update. This is a walk update. Walk update. Do you want to like sing walk update so that Mark can like cut it and put it in if he wants?
Oh yeah, sure. So,
okay.
So you would have to do like the.
This is a walk update. It's a walk update. Walk update. Walk update. So I'm out for a walk, and as I'm walking up the road, I see this woman who's out for a jog. There were a lot of people out for a jog. It was like,
it was that kind of day.
Yeah, it's been cold pretty consistently for the last few weeks, and up until like a couple of days ago, maybe last weekend, we had not had a sunny day in Cleveland since the middle of November. We just had like a month and a half, 2 months straight of clouds.
Yeah, it was not great.
So like it warmed up a little bit and the sun was out. So there were a lot of people out for a jog. I was just out for a walk because I'm a man of leisure. So as I'm walking down the road, I see this woman who she jogs for, 2 or 3 seconds. Then she stops and she walks back to the same spot, which is like over by like a stop sign or a street sign of some sort. And she like crouches down, and then she stands back up and she turns around and she jogs back in that same direction for like 3 seconds. And she keeps doing this. And as I'm walking down the street, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, is she warming up? Is she cooling down? Is she stretching out? Did she like drop her keys and keeps like running back and forth trying to find it? And eventually, once I get close enough, I realize what's happening is that the reason she keeps bending down is that she has her phone propped up like against this stop sign post, and she is, and I think what's happening is that she's having it like record video so she can catch like a quick 3-second video of herself out for a jog to like put up on Instagram or something. you know? And so I'm watching, and like, listen, I have taken plenty of stupid pictures of myself for, you know, doing far less productive things, I am sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not judging that. I want to be clear there. Like, you know, do what you're gonna do. That's fine. The thing that I think is funny is imagining, like, just trying to imagine how effective that sort of exercise regimen can be if, like, that is an active part of it. You know, like, if you're trying to swim laps, but, like, every lap you need to, like, get out and wipe down the lens and make sure that, like, it hasn't gotten nudged and it hasn't fogged up because there's too much moisture in the pool area. And just, like, trying to work, like, a one-man production crew into every one of your workouts.
It cannot be efficient. I gotta say that. It can't be efficient. I feel like you are gonna suffer on that vector, certainly.
But, I don't know. Maybe it was a good clip. Who knows? That's my walk update, Dave.
You know, I hope so. I hope it was a great clip. So what, Matt, is our 4th star of the week?
Dave, our 4th star of the week is that I saw a local interest news story. And we don't normally talk about local interest news here, although we do talk about Cleveland in general a lot, sort of.
A lot, I would say, yeah.
But the sort of story that I'm about to say is not the sort of thing that we typically dwell on. We'll more talk about Cleveland if it's in the national news, or like a very specific thing that we did. This is just something that I saw in Scene magazine, which is our local, like, alt paper. Anyway, I saw an article about a restaurant on the east side, sort of close to where you live, called Nighttown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nighttown's just up the road from me.
Have you ever been to Nighttown? I've actually never been.
I have been to Nighttown a time.
Okay.
I was not super duper impressed with the food.
Well, my understanding is that although the food is fine, like, it's more the ambiance of Nighttown.
The ambiance is nice, and it's a jazz club. It's like a jazz club / restaurant. It's been around for ages.
Yeah, so I see this news article that says, like, hey, Nighttown is being sold to a new owner. But in the article, it said, like, they haven't said who the new owner is, but we do know it's being sold. That's kind of all that we know. Which seems very secretive, which would be weird if it was just a restaurant. But Dave, it's not just a restaurant. It's Nighttown. And
it's also a jazz club.
I have a long-running theory about Nighttown, Dave, which is that Nighttown is just a front for vampires. And here want to hear my explanations? First of all...
Well, okay. Does it have anything to do with their logo?
Well, let's start with bare bones, right? Bare bones here.
Bare bones.
It's a place, and it's called Nighttown. That's strike one against it.
Yeah, already you are in night folk territory.
Right. Welcome to Nighttown. Dave, do you want to tell the good people what the logo of Nighttown looks like? I hadn't really thought about it in vampire-oriented terms, but the logo for Nighttown is just a silhouette of a man shrouded in a trench coat with a fedora. Yeah. And could be an old-timey detective. Could definitely be a vampire, though. Easily be a vampire. There are big, black iron lanterns out front that have red lights in them. Yeah, they do have that. That is for sure true. Nighttown has like a courtesy car that is parked out front of the restaurant most nights and in a lot next to it during the days. Dave, do you recall off the top of your head what kind of car that is? Man, I don't actually. I don't recall having... Okay, it's a hearse. I've probably driven by it like 100 times. Yeah, it's an old hearse is what it is. Okay, not looking great for you guys, Nighttown. Now, Matt, here's actually something else interesting that you may not know. Directly next to Nighttown, like immediately adjacent, separated by maybe 1.5 feet of space, you know what the next building over is? There's a bakery, right? The Swiss Baker? There is a baker. In front of that, though, the baker, man, is sort of at the back end of the parking lot. At the front of the parking lot, Matt, is a barber. Oh. It's a barber.
So we could definitely be in a combo Sweeney Todd vampire situation here.
We could. Now,
never occurred to me before this.
There is another aspect of this, which if you know the sort of layout of Cleveland, you may know. This is an East Side establishment. It is just at the top of Cedar Hill. Now, if you're not from the area, what you might not know is at the bottom of Cedar Hill is a sprawling hospital complex.
Hospitals well known to be lousy with vampires.
Yeah, like they're just full of blood and potential victims.
Yeah, so full of blood. A lot of people there you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
Right? People are going in, they're going out. People are, sadly expiring from various causes. Some of them probably vampire-oriented.
Most of them, I'm sure. And so it's just like, I used to drive by this place like twice a day back when I used to live on the East Side. And so I've just had this long running theory about Nighttown that it's just straight up a vampire den. And so hearing that it has been sold to a mysterious party, I'm like, oh, you didn't sell the restaurant. You've just changed your name and now you are suddenly your, 65-year-old younger nephew who looks mysteriously like you did in the 50s.
Matt, I can lay this out for you even a little bit better. It's a mysterious foreign investor.
Ooh.
Not even somebody from the area coming in from out of town.
Dude, and what is Dracula if not a mysterious foreign real estate investor? I mean, that's the whole book.
That's
okay, it's not the whole book. There's other stuff in that book, but... Anyway, this is just something I really wanted to share with the people. Dave, what is our fifth and final star of the week?
So, man, our fifth and final star of the week is there's this viral. It's a TikTok.
It's a TikTok.
Do you just say it's a TikTok or is it a TikTok video?
I think you would. Call it
it's just a. I think you just call it a TikTok.
Yeah, you would never say a Vine video. It's a TikTok.
It's a Vine. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's a Vine. It's a TikTok. Anyways, it's a sea shanty.
Yes.
And it's a good one. And there's a guy who sings it, and I don't know his name. And then there's another dude who listened to it, and he's like a real bass, and he's like, I listened to this, and I put a bass line on it. And now this thing is like 15 people deep. It's very good. You may have seen it.
Yeah. I figure if you're on the internet hard enough that you're listening to Super Sentai podcasts, this is almost definitely something you've run across on Twitter.
Yeah, it's gotta be true. Gotta be true. Here's the thing that I particularly liked about it, Matt. For me, this was a new shanty to me. I had never heard this song before.
See, this is what also interested me. Because I, as much as possible, without being a mariner myself, I try to live that shanty life.
I do love a good shanty.
Like, honestly, there was times that I would boot up Assassin's Creed 4, The Black Flag, not because I really wanted to play Assassin's Creed 4, The Black Flag, but because when you're sailing around, people will just sing shanties, and that's great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, as an Assassin's Creed, like everything that was not sailing around on a boat, like assaulting Templar stronghold fortresses in that game, was not super great. But that part of it was the business.
And they sang Rio Grande, which is one of my favorite shanties.
Love that song. Love that. Love Holloway Joe.
You know, Dave, I gotta say, I have got a bit of a mixed reaction on Holloway Joe. Because I like Holloway Joe now, but I recall in my youth, there was an exhibit at, I think, the Great Lakes Science Center.
It surely was at the Great Lakes Science Center.
That involved watching a video of a man sing Holloway Joe. And
yes,
as a youth,
this was my introduction
to me. Like, watching a man sing Holloway Joe with no context was hilarious to like 13-year-old me. So when I hear it now, even though I now was like, oh, it's a fun shanty, I can never quite shake that.
Now, Matt, have you ever heard the song Barrett's Privateers?
Dave.
Okay, I just assumed that I guess I could have assumed that you had. Here's the fun. Do you know the fun thing about Barrett's Privateers?
Dave, I have spent so much time thinking about and listening to Barrett's Privateers. But please, tell the good people.
So sorry, Band's Privateers is by...
I'm sorry. I don't know why I came so hard at you there. Yes, Dave, that is a song I also know and enjoy. I don't know why I felt like I needed to like prove my sea shanty credentials by telling you I'm a big fan of Stan Rogers.
Anyway, Stan Rogers is a Canadian folk singer from the earlier part of the 20th century, and there's a song he's famous for. It's Baird's Privateers. Here's the fun thing about it. I think it is not a traditional sea shanty. Stan Rogers was just like, I like sea shanties, and I think I could write one. And so he just does, and it's this great song.
Right.
Go look it up.
He's like, every time I hang out with my musician friends and we're doing the shanties, I'm always stuck in the like singing the chorus bit, but I never get to be the guy who sings the verses. But if I write one, then I get to sing the verses.
Then I will be the verse guy. I love it. I love that element of it. I love the song, and I love his motivation for having written it.
I love how it appears in the 1990s cop/Mountie action sitcom Due South?
Due North? Due North.
Yeah. Should have been called Due South because the Mountie comes down south into America.
Well, yeah, but I think they have to head back due north.
In any case, there's a great episode where they're on this Canadian like freighter and the Mountie, and they're trying to like blend in with the crew because the crew are all criminals and they're trying to figure out a case or something. And a bunch of the criminal crew all corner the Mountie. And they're like, hey, who are you? Are you a real sailor?
Matt, I'm sorry. It is due south. You are correct.
Okay, nice. And they corner this Mountie and they're like, are you a real sailor? Are you secretly a Mountie who's out to stop our crimes?
Are you secretly a cop?
And the way that he proves to them that he is in fact a true sailor is he just starts singing Barrett's Privateers. And by the end of it, like the whole boat is singing along with him. It's extremely good. You know what else is extremely good, Dave? Is Denji Sentai Megaranger. Maybe not this episode. This episode's... We'll talk about it. This episode is episode 29. I Want to Lose Weight. Miku's Dubious Diet. It was written by Shigeru Yanagawa. Its original air date was September 7th, 1997. If you want to watch along, of course, you can do that either with the DVDs or at shoutfactory.tv. We are going to go take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We've watched episode 29 of Denji Sentai Megaranger. Dave, school is back in session for the Megarangers.
Yes. I mean, also for us, but yes.
For you too, but yes.
Yeah. So, we open up, school's back in session, and we open up on Miku. And she's like, oh, it's autumn. I've got such a good appetite. And then they like reference this a handful of times. Like, I totally get it, right? It's autumn shifting into soup mode. You know what I mean? That cold weather hits, and you're just like, ooh, I'm going to have soup and stew and pie and roast beef. I don't know, like whatever.
And what if you have roast beef in a pot pie that is basically like a stew?
See, that's a super winner move. So anyways, Miku does this. She sits down for lunch, and she orders what I will say is probably too much food. I looked at that amount of food, and I was just like, I don't think I could eat all that. I probably could eat all that if I like really wanted to. But also, I don't love onigiri.
Yeah,
it's definitely supposed to be lunch for two, and that's kind of the joke, right? So she sits down, demolishes this tray of food. The other Rangers are there, and they are amazed.
Yeah. They're like, hey, Miku, are you okay? You are really like, that's a big lunch. It's a big lunch, Miku. And then Kenta, because Kenta is without social graces or common sense, or general politeness, says he's like, yeah, you have gained some weight.
He's like, you definitely gained weight, though, right? Everyone else is horrified. Shun is like, dude, you cannot. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you can't say that. And then Miku's like, wait, is that true? And Shun says, well, yeah, but, and then realizes what he said. Let's start.
Can we just get out in front of this?
Yeah. This episode is about food and a young girl's relationship to it, and there is some stuff in it that definitely hasn't aged well and probably wasn't great at the time.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I think we can say it definitely wasn't great at the time. It was probably, they weren't thinking about it, but it definitely was not, and it also has not super aged well. And I just
I think that's a better way to say it, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I got 2 daughters, and this part of this episode did just really bum me out in that regard. Because, she just doesn't, and really, I'm just saying this now so that we're preambling, right? So we don't have to come back and loop and say how much of a bummer this is. And then Miku is, well, actually, we're gonna see in the very next scene, she steps on a scale and she's 121 pounds, which is fine.
Yeah, but and also here's the other thing. I don't know if you caught this.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, that scale is broken.
Oh, sorry, then I didn't catch that.
Yeah, when it cuts to the episodes, when the title card pops up, the camera shifts and you see the backside of that scale on which there is a sign that says out of order.
Oh, I did totally miss that. I must have just been writing something down. But it says 121 pounds, and then she says that's 21 pounds up, which means that before this, she only weighed 100 pounds. Which again, she's not a large person.
Yeah, she's
that's
a short
healthy
little girl, but
Miku, she's fine. She's so fine. Anyways,
yeah. So she is now determined. I can't believe I've suddenly gained 20 pounds. How could this have happened? I'm going on a diet. And everyone says do not do that. Diets are not healthy, and you will be miserable and unhealthy if you do that.
Well, Shun says that. Mm-hmm. Kenta just says, you can't do it.
Yeah. Again, Kenta, there is a moment late in this episode where he manages to not completely strike out, but these are 2 big whiffs right up at the top.
So anyways, the next scene, we see Miku, and she's sort of wandering through school, or wandering on her way to school. She's out in the street, holding her stomach, stumbling around, oh, I'm so hungry. So already she's got a deeply unhealthy relationship with this new diet. And she's staring in at people at restaurants with her nose pressed up against the glass and stuff. And then, a siren, Matt, the mythical sirens of ancient Greece, she hears a song.
A beautiful song.
A beautiful song about a diet crepe. And she looks over, and there is a dude. And he has got a crepe stand and backup dance. He's very obviously a monster.
Right.
It's so clear that he's and so therefore the background dancers are very obviously
Kune.
But he has this song is a minute and a half long.
Yeah, and we get reprises of it throughout the episode.
Yeah, diet crepe. And then he's talking about the crepe is amazing and it's so delicious and you can make it and you can have anything you want on it. And if he puts this special sauce, not only will you not gain weight from the crepe, you won't gain weight from anything else you eat after it for however long. Okay.
Right. It is literally a magic device. Which, I mean, it is magic. It's evil Nezare magic, clearly.
Yeah, so Kenta's mom is there. She's stoked about this. She tries to order 10. Oh, one line of the song is, "Oh, fatty, no one will say that to you when you eat the diet crepe." And the dude gets into the song. It's awesome.
Yeah, honestly, the song and dance number is a lot of fun. Even if you don't watch the rest of the episode, you should definitely watch that.
It is pretty good. So he's and here's the magic sauce. And it's in a syringe. And it's a pink like a bubblegum pink sauce, and he sort of like squirts it on the crepe, and I just see it and I'm like, Miku, this should set off alarm bells for you. It doesn't.
No. So she
has this.
Yeah. She gets the crepe, she sits down, and she's eating the crepe, and she's loving it. She's got two. She's got two of them. She's got one for now and one for immediately afterwards. And who should arrive but Yusuke?
Yeah.
Mega Silver. He's on Earth, skipping out on his job. He claims that he's not. He's like, no, I'm definitely working, but I will sit down with you on this bench and talk
it's okay
about whatever.
So she said, he's like, what's up with this crepe? You know, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I heard that, like, if you eat this crepe, like, I heard, I guess, from the guy who sold it to me, but I heard that if you eat this crepe, it's a special dye crepe and blah, 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 blah. Yusuke, thankfully, is like, he doesn't come right out and say, like, that's clearly a Nezare, but he at least groks immediately that, like, something is wrong here.
Yeah, he's like,
that's not how any of this works.
As a connoisseur of cooking, that doesn't sound right to me. The more we find out about Yusuke, the more I really like Yusuke, because Yusuke is like a bachelor who is he has developed bachelor skills and is like using those bachelor skills to be like a cool adult to the teenagers that he knows. But also like he is kind of a cool guy. But, you know, he is definitely the guy who lives by himself who decided to get really into cooking. And as a guy who lives by himself, who over this past year has gotten more into cooking, I can get into Yusuke. I get it. I'm not trying to impress teenagers, but like, first of all, Yusuke is like 11 years younger than I am. So like, that's, a lot less weird. But
wow, that is wild to think about.
The old man in this show is 11 years younger than me, your younger brother.
Neat. So anyways,
I'm probably like the same age as Dr. Kubota or something.
We probably are. So anyways, so thank you, Yusuke, for at least realizing that something is wrong. We pop over to the Nezare dimension, and here's where we get the plan. Is that, yes, of course, it is a Nezare, and the idea is that the humans, like, food is a limited resource, and not only do you not gain, like, basically you turn into a Deadlands Faminite, like, you just can't ever stop eating. You're constantly hungry. And so the plan is, we'll just give this to all these people, they'll eat all the food, and then the entire human race will starve to death.
Yeah, it's a planet-wide thinner.
Yes.
And the thing is, I do wonder if this is something that was sort of like in other Japanese media of this time, because I feel like every season, or at least every couple of seasons, we get an episode about some monster like eating up all of the food and turning people against each other.
We have had a couple of those, yeah.
Like Pudgy Pig. Like in Zyuranger, the monster that is Pudgy Pig from Power Rangers, like that's just what it is. He's a big pig monster and he eats all the food so that people will turn on each other and like humanity will crumble. And we get that like every couple of seasons. And in at least two of those, it is a pig. Which is, I guess, a good option.
Okay, Matt, just real quickly, I do have some good news for you. Satoru Saito, who is the actor who plays Dr. Kubota, was 44 when this episode came out. So
okay, good.
You're not neither you or I are as old as Dr. Kubota, at least.
Although we are definitely closer to his age than we are to Yusuke's age.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely closer. That's for sure. So anyways, we pop back to Miku. And she hops on the scale, and she's like, I lost 26 pounds overnight, which again, Miku, this should set off alarm bells for you.
No, I think
that's
she
not
lost,
how any of
she
that
says
works.
She lost 22 pounds. And because the other scale was broken and she said that she had gained 20 pounds, like, overnight, like, what's actually probably happened is that she starved herself all day and, like, you know, maybe was wearing heavier shoes when she weighed herself yesterday and is basically the same weight, but now that she's on a scale that works, she thinks she's 20 pounds lighter again.
Oh, could be. Who knows? Anyways, so she's like, this is dope. I'm just going to eat anything I want. We go from there to the chef. He's driving around in his crepe truck. He is singing the song to himself. I appreciate this, and here's why.
Commitment to the bit.
It's not. I think it's more than commitment to the bit, and that's why I like it so much. He obviously is singing the song to try to sell people on the crepe when he is in his role as like Nezare Monster. I think this demonstrates that he just really likes the song himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's driving around. He rolls the window down. He's like, "Oh, I smell something delicious," and he pulls into a restaurant. Whenever we see him, he's sitting at the restaurant. He looks at the menu and he says, "I will have one of everything, please." The waiter's like, "That's bonkers." And he's like, "I'm fully aware of how bonkers that may or may not seem to you, but it's still true. Please give it to me now."
I'm a madman in a chef's hat, and I'm singing a song. Give me one of everything. So, back at the school, the other four are hanging out in the computer club. Miku comes in, sits down, and immediately starts eating all of their food. And they're like, "Miku, what are you doing? A, please do not eat our food. And B, didn't you say you were on a diet?" And she's like, no. Check it out. Turns out,
it's cool.
I got a new diet, and the new diet is I ate evil magic, and now I can eat all of your lunches.
But now here's the thing. So then they immediately they get a Nezare alert. The Rangers run off. Miku is just like, and they're running away, and then they realize that it's only the four of them, and then they run back, and Miku is still like at the table eating all their food. And so they grab her, and then they run. And they're running off to meet the Nezare. And as they're running, Mega Pink like stops and sees a snack bar and is like, "Ooh, I'm just gonna stop for a quick sec.
Just gonna grab a Quibi. Gonna grab a quick bite."
Yeah. And so is that what Quibi was supposed to mean?
Yeah,
was
dude.
that the idea behind the name Quibi?
Just taking a
That's
quick bite.
extraordinarily. That's so stupid.
It's so shocking.
Anyways,
everybody loved it. It was such a great product.
So astonishing that it did not work. I would still love to see. Now, they did do the most dangerous game, but they were like, "Ooh, let's update it for 2020. I don't need that. It's a period piece.
E-game.
They see the Rangers get to the restaurant. By this point, Pig Nezare, he is a Pig Nezare.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
has
pig
revealed
monster.
himself. He has eaten all of the food, and he has skipped out on the bill.
Yeah. And so the Rangers show up to investigate, and the waiter's just like, "Dude, he showed up. He was a man. He ordered everything on the menu. Then he turned into a horrifying pig monster. Everybody's freaking out. And then also there is this bill.
The matter of the bill.
And he presents it to them. He doesn't even like question. He's just like, "Oh, and here's the bill for him." I guess on the logic of like, you're a hero who's here to solve a problem, and part of the problem is that like I'm out all this money on this food.
Right.
The
bill,
Rangers just
the bill is for 1,035,000 yen. Now, I did a bit of math. And I don't know if I did it correctly, but I translated what the value of the yen versus the value of the dollar was in 1997, and then I multiplied that out, and then I did the like what it was, what was the US dollar in 1997 versus this amount.
Yeah. I got you.
Anyway, so that bill was about $13,400 in 2020 money. 2021.
Nice. And so the Rangers like pass it down to each other. They're like, "Oh, you can take care of this, please. You can take care of this." I like that they are acting as though any one of them just has like 13 grand on hand and is going to be able to pay this bill. They get all the way down the line, and Mega Yellow turns to try to give it to Mega Pink, and of course Mega Pink isn't there.
Right, because she is off eating a bunch of food. They go back to the restaurant where she had gotten distracted, and they find her, and they're like, Miku, like, listen, I don't know what's going on with you.
I get it.
Right now.
It's autumn appetite. It's okay.
Okay, no, they don't say that. They all say, I don't know what's going on with you, but you absolutely cannot be, like, doing this on Ranger time. We are all working. And as they are scolding her, Kenta specifically is like, listen, as you say, he's like, listen, it's autumn appetite, clearly. And I don't know if autumn appetite is a thing, or if it's just that Kenta's like, I don't know, man, I get really hungry sometimes too. You claimed that this was an autumn thing. I'm willing to believe that.
Yeah. And then things start to get weird because Miku sees a pigeon on the street and is like, I'm definitely going to try and eat that pigeon, like a live pigeon. She's like, she is going after this live pigeon. And then they sort of are like, oh, okay. Something is...
I don't think she was trying to eat the pigeon. See, there was a bunch of pigeons that were all eating breadcrumbs. And I thought she saw them eating the breadcrumbs and was like, I gotta get those crumbs.
Oh, that is definitely less horrifying.
I mean, either of them
really
are weird.
Yeah, I really did think that we were getting ourselves into a Renfield situation here. So, no, I like your version better where she's going after the breadcrumbs.
Or, in Jetman, the ant soldier, when the ant soldier turned all the people into ant people, then those people, like, rose up in the middle of the night and devoured the cows live.
Oh, yeah. That was weird and bad.
Yeah.
That was weird and bad.
Weird
so
episode.
Anyways.
Dave, sometimes, I don't know if you have noticed this, because we've watched a few episodes of Super Sentai now. Sometimes the show gets weird.
Sometimes it does get a little bit raw and weird.
And sometimes I forget that the original, like, concept of our show was watching Sentai and being surprised by how weird it was, because we're mostly used to it, right? Because we watch it every week. We've been watching it every week for years. And then sometimes I remember this show gets weird, actually.
You know, Matt, I was just going back and I was just listening to some Ranger Danger archives where they watched the first episode of I think it's Flashman, and they watched with Kyle Higgins and Kyle, who wrote all of, like, the Ranger Danger comic, the recent Ranger Danger comics. He's writing a new
Power
Rangers comics. Thank you. Is working on, now we just found out, like, a new Sentai inspired comic. They're writing Ultraman, and he's just like, yeah, I'd never really seen Sentai before. And I was like, what? And so they watched the episode and they're just, like, blown away by how crazy it is. And I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, man, that's just like
just having a normal one.
That's not even particularly crazy.
Yeah, although first episodes of series are always a little out
yeah, no,
there.
they're always a little bit off the rails. So anyways, we go from there. We see the Kenta's family store is closed, and it's closed because Kenta's mom, she ate that crepe, and now she's violating Biggie's first rule, man.
She's getting high on her own supply. She is eating every single vegetable in her store. She is currently scrounging down on just like
a raw daikon, I think.
Yeah, it is either one
She's
raw
like
daikon broken in half
daikon.
or two. It's a lot. There's a lot of daikon going on.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on there. So we go from there. People are going food crazy. There's a news article about it. In a comedic moment, the news co-anchor is also bad. She's got like a whole like Korean barbecue looking setup at the news desk.
Yeah, like the camera's focused in on one of the news anchors and he's like, this is serious. People are eating all the food. And then the camera pans back and you see that there's another person at the desk who is just, as you say, like completely just going to town on some barbecue.
Yeah, so we go from there and we see that Miku, I think she's in like the school cafeteria, and she like pops out of the fridge and she's got like a big hunk of raw beef in one hand and a raw chicken in the other one.
Yeah, and the Rangers they've like gone to look for her because they were watching that story and they were like, oh, Miku was cursed with Nezare food stuff. Okay, we should definitely go find her. She's probably in the cafeteria. And they find her, as you say, just just a lot of uncooked meat.
Yeah, so they tackle her, and she is... Now we really are, like, kind of in a Renfield. Like, she is, like, ravening after this, like, raw chicken. It's real gross. Anyways, Yusaku finds the pig Nezare and is a great opener, and he's just like, I'm ordering one Nezare beast. It's just like, that's a good...
And the chef, because he's not in his Nezare beast form at the moment, he's like, he's just the food truck guy. He has this moment of like, whatever are you talking about, sir? I am a crepesman. And Yusuke's is like, okay, no, we're just doing this, and just like starts punching him. And they go into a fight between the two of them. It's very fun. Yeah, it is. It's a very new thing. I dig it. Real quickly, he's a cartoon. He's kind of like a weird cartoony vibe. He fights with a frying pan, and he has a lot of like cartoon animations that he does. Mm-hmm. So basically, he's fighting, and he's a toughie. He's like really bad, but he gets really hungry like mid-fight. Right, and he's just like, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I was like, I gotta go find a snack. I'm out of here. So Yusuke's like, okay, well, this is bad. I need to go find the team. He goes and he goes to the school. And he comes into the schoolroom, and he's like, hey, I know what's happened, because they're all trying to, like, get a hold of Miku and, like, wrestle her down. He comes in, he's like, listen, I know what's happened to Miku. She ate the Diet Crepe. I watched her eat it. I should have been a little quicker on the uptake, but we gotta deal with this situation. The computer pops on. Like, obviously, this is very, very bad. The computer pops on, it's Dr. Kubota. Dr. Kubota says, hey, all of you, there's a problem. You need to go address it. Also, Yusuke, why are you on Earth? You should definitely be at work right now. Why are you there? You need to ask me permission if you're going to leave the moon and go to Earth to ride around on your motorcycle and fight monsters like a cool guy. The thing I love about this is that Dr. Kubota is always surprised, and Yusuke... like his response is always the same. He's just like, and he just turns the TV off and continues whatever he was doing. Did we, sorry, I got distracted for a second there. Did we mention that Miku tries to eat a backpack? It's right here that she tries to do it, because they're holding her down, and she sees a red backpack and is like, that's definitely a steak. As though she's a hungry person in a cartoon, and she looks at her friend, and her friend turns into a walking cooked turkey, One of those moments. That's what it is. It's a good one. So basically, just chomping down on that Jansport. We see Pig Nezare eating. The Rangers show up. We flash back. Miku's been tied up at her chair, and then the rest of the Rangers are out. Yeah, Yusuke has stayed with Miku to like watch her. Yeah. And then she hears someone singing like a roast potato song. And she, like, hulks out of the ropes, like, tears them in half, like, knocks Yusuke down, and, like, runs out chasing after this sweet potato. Now, she does fall in a manhole cover. She does walk directly into an open manhole cover as though she is a Ninja Turtle from the old Ninja Turtle video games, where you could just accidentally, like, whoop, it's dark in here, now I'm in the sewer. No, Matt, I am so excited about what didn't happen next. Just cannot tell you how thrilled I am that what did not happen is that Miku's like... Dave, can I interrupt you for a second? Yeah, okay. Can you please, can you please not say... Because now that you've done this wind-up, I know what you're going to say, and I would just love it if you didn't. Okay, I think we can stick with that. I think it's fine if I don't say that thing. But just so stoked that it didn't happen. Anyways, so the other Rangers are, they're fighting Pig Nezare. It's going poorly, of course. They need the power of 5. They need the power of 5. We flip back to Miku. She's wandering around in the sewer again. Then she burps, and there's like a little, so hungry. And thank goodness she thankfully, thank goodness, doesn't see anything to eat. She burps, and like a little pink cloud flies out of her mouth, and then she's like, my curse is lifted. Everything's fine now. That was very bad and weird, and I'm glad that it's over. Oh my goodness, my friends. And then she just like installs and she's out.
We go back to the fight. Yeah, which is good because up until this point, Pig Nezare is like basically untouchable.
Yeah. Mega Pink shows up and she's like, hey, I am upset. It is time for me to hit this dude very hard. I know that we're all here together and you're all excited to attack as one, but here's what I'm actually going to do. Mega Red, will you please loan me Battle Riser? Because I need to put that on my fist and then use my fist to hit that pig monster as hard as possible. And she does it, and it's really fun. She does like a little like muscle pose afterwards. Good times. Very good times.
Yeah. So, so that's dope. Now, he then pulls out his extra secret power move, which is he eats a bunch of garlic, and then he has very bad super breath. Mega Silver shows up, and he says to himself, I can help with this, but not as Mega Silver.
Right. Well, he's already
not
used
as Mega
up
Silver.
Mega Silver this episode.
Oh, that's right. He's like, I can't help as Mega Silver. You know what I can help as, though? Yusuke Hayakawa, level 20 cool bachelor.
Yes.
And he just like materializes out of thin air the ingredients and cooking implements for like a 5-course classic French dinner. He's got like lobster. He's got some sort of like delicious looking stew. I forget again. He has like a number of courses.
Right. He just manifests Kitchen Stadium like on that patio. It's amazing.
It's incredible. And he just knocks this whole meal out in 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
It just, Pig Nezare smells it. He's just like, I gotta get it. Whatever it is, I need to stop this fight and I do need to eat it right now. He runs over. He's digging in. They attack while he's distracted. It's extremely effective. And then, of course, like they knock him down, and then he goes giant. This is a great moment. Where they're like, we need to call Galaxy Mega, right? And Miku starts to say it, and Kenta just like jumps in from off frame and like pushes her aside. She gets through Galaxy, and he like pushes her aside and says, Mega! Like, I'm the one who's...
This is my job.
I'm the one who says this.
It's my whole thing.
So they do the giant fight. There's some fun cartoon effects. And they do... How they finally do get Pig Nezare is Mega Pink, like, holds up the fist on Delta Mega. And she's like, what does this look like? It looks like an onigiri, doesn't it? It does not.
No, it doesn't.
Pig Nezare thinks it does. So he literally eats a knuckle onigiri. I guess it wouldn't be a knuckle sandwich, but they use this to trick him, and then they punch him very hard with a rocket fist, and he dies.
Yeah. Classic. So we cut back to the school. They're in their computer lab. They're all talking to Dr. Kubota. Dr. Kubota says, yeah, it's cool. Now that once Miku figured out that all you had to do was not eat for 20 minutes and then the curse would be lifted, that's just what everybody did, and now everyone is fine.
Yeah, like everybody's totally fine, yeah.
It is as though the problem never happened. And also, Yusuke, you definitely have to come back to work this instant. So, of course, Yusuke hangs up the phone.
Yeah. And what he has been busy doing while he's not doing his very important super work is he made a whole dinner. He made this like giant dinner and has put it in like buffet style chafing trays. And he's like, Miku, come on and come eat. And she's like, I'm not fat, guys. So they're like, no, you're not fat. She's like, dope, I'm going to eat everything. And then just like rolls over and just grabs like 2 giant handfuls of food and starts eating. And then everyone's just like, wah, wah, oh, Miku. And then...
I mean, this isn't Power Rangers, but it's very much a Power Rangers episode.
That's definitely what would have happened there. So that is the end of that episode. But Matt, it's not the end of our episode.
No, Dave, because first we need to determine where Pig Nezare lands in the Creature Royale.
Matt, I gotta say, think it's gonna be pretty high.
Do like Pig Nezare. So we've got...
like Pig Nezare.
At the top of our list of Nezare, we have Neo Bat Nezare. Neo Bat Nezare is very good. He had a couple of different plans, some involving CDs, some involving an army of robotic flautists. Very good. At the bottom, we have Scorpion Nezare, the non-monster.
Yeah, he just kind of didn't exist almost at all. I mean, like, he did technically, I guess, but
so much so that I'm looking at his name and cannot remember what it was, and that is one of 22 monsters. If I can't remember one of 22, you know it's unmemorable.
Okay, so, dude, I really like Pig Nezare. I like that he's got some personality. I like that he does a song and dance number. I like that he is engaged in the plan.
Mm-hmm.
He seems much more... he feels like he would have been much more of like a Kaku Ranger monster. Kaku Ranger was a great season for monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, especially monsters with a job. I like a monster with a job.
Yes. I like a monster, with a task and a role to play. Okay. So I don't think he's quite Neobat Nezare.
No. Right under that, we have Antlion Nezare. And Antlion Nezare was really good. And then Rose Nezare...
Antlion Nezare had a great plan, had a lot of thematic elements going on, and had some personality.
Yeah. Rose Nezare was part of a really cool episode and was like transforming children into like plants, and like was posing as an evil nun with Shibalina in a convent. That was really good. And you gotta love B.
I
Nezare,
think it's...
because
he's like right in there. He's right in this top 5. I'm not quite sure where he is.
I think maybe below...
I like him better than Toad Nezare.
Yeah, below B Nezare, above Toad Nezare. How do we feel about that?
Man, that's tough. I might almost put him above B Nezare. B Nezare is cool. He has a great look and a great plan. But he doesn't have any... I don't think he has as much personality as Pig Nezare. I would put him above B Nezare. Maybe not quite Rose Nezare, though.
Okay, I think that's fair.
All right, coming in at the new number 4, very strong showing, it's Pig Nezare.
Right on. And that, Dave, that is the end of another episode of The Spy Who Loved Megaranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe on there. Tell a friend. That would be swell of ya. This Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. If you'd like to listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can find them all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.
Mega